Welcome everyone to another Minecraft video. This is a Stocky here. Today I'm doing a mod review on the latest version of the Technics Pack, which is version 5.05. So I will be displaying right about now a list of all the mods that are installed in the Technics Pack, and for those of you that have been watching my Let's Play of the Yogbox, I will be displaying now a list beside it that shows the mods that are in the Yogbox. So you can see there's quite a lot of overlap, and if everything goes well now you should be seeing a list that has the two sort of combined, so you can work out, you know, what's overlap, what's not, and hopefully see how things are going. So I've just spawned a brand new world. As you can see, I need to get that achievement to get that off my screen. So what you probably just saw flash up might have looked a lot like too many items, but I'll bring it up. It is in fact not too many items. You can see the GUI's a little bit different, the buttons are slightly different. It's got basically the same stuff, but this is not actually too many items. This is a mod called Not Enough Items, made by Chicken Bones. So it's very similar. You can even press O the same way to get it off. I'll explain it a little bit more in a second. First of all, I'm going to just walk over here and show you this, which is a different kind of ore. I believe that's copper ore. And here we have some iron. There are pigs everywhere. This looks like I've spawned a really excellent world. Oh, look at that. There's a thermy thingy there. There's a... Sure, I saw another one. Oh, there's some rubber trees over there. This is a fantastic world, so I think I might actually be playing this again. Well, I guess what I'm looking for is some advice on whether you guys would like to see a Let's Play on this. If you would like to, if you think the mod review is interesting, let me know so that I can start it up and let you guys see it. So yeah, so back to Not Enough Items. This is made by Chicken Bones. It's basically looked at the limitations that were in too many items, particularly the fact that when you flick through there can be just sometimes way too many items. So what it adds is it adds an option for item subsets. So if you know what it is that you're looking for, say you wanted to find something, you can sort by just things that are in the standard mod, and you have these lists that allow you to sort things. So you can go mob spawners and find all your different spawners for things. You can go, I just want a block, and so you can just sort by the blocks that are placeable, or just sort by an item. Say I want an iron pick, so you go pickaxes, and there's your iron pickaxe. So it just kind of makes things just a little bit easier for you to find where things are. It's also added this button which brings you back to full health, and this magnet button. So if you turn magnet mode on, basically what it does is any block that's near you, even if it's too far away, as you can see just then, what I'll do is I'll see if I can, so you can't actually get away from it before it picks it up. So you turn it off, so you go, oh no, I've just dropped that piece of dirt off. I normally wouldn't be able to get it, but if you turn magnet mode on, it's got quite a good range, and anything that's sort of near you actually comes up and finds you. So I guess really I didn't bring you here to talk to you about that particular part of it, which is, you know, cool. I mainly just wanted to use that so I could show you the things that you can do with this mod. So there's some people who've probably done some reviews on this before, and so you can see most of those on other web pages. I guess what makes the newer versions better is that they've added some more items and they've used different things, and I find that there's a really good sort of overlap between equivalent exchange and how this whole mod works. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to pause the video for a second, and I'm going to set up the, I guess probably, it's not the most basic part of this, but it's where things really start to get started. So just give me one moment, I'll be back in a second. Okay, before I get going with that, I just remembered something else that I wanted to show you. So as you can see here, this is your regular run-of-the-mill crafting table. One of those things that kind of everybody has, and yeah, it's just your normal little crafting square. One of the things that this mod adds is a thing called crafting table 2, and what the crafting table 2 does, sorry, I'm just trying to look through to see if I can find a philosopher's stone. There we go. So what the crafting table 2 allows you to do, I'll just break this down, is it allows you to build up, it's been called Terraria-like. I'm not sure if that's really the case, but you put a crafting table with a book and you get a crafting table 2, and the way this works is you right click on it and it gives you a list up the top of all the things you can make with what's currently in your inventory. And so if you have a Philosopher's Stone, you hover over it and it tells you how to make it. So to make a piece of sand, you need one piece of dirt and one Philosopher's Stone. It will automatically combine them and it will build things for you, which is just brilliant, because what I can do now is I can add, if I can find it, this is where the item subsets comes in really handy. Sorry, I need to just close that down because that's getting in the way. Item subsets, it's an item, it's not a block. Scroll down and you've got all your different things added by the mods. Silver ingots, tin ingots, copper ingots, red alloy ingots. So many different things that are added by these mods. Fortunately, it's always the bit that you want that's the bit that you can never find. So I'll keep going through here and see if I can find it naturally. So we've got our bricks. We've got our tin ingots, silver ingots, brass ingots, so lots of different kinds of ingots. Keep going a bit further through. I know it's going to be here somewhere. It's the refined iron that's part of industrial craft. There we go, refined iron. So if I give myself a 64 stack of those, I can now come in here and you can see I can now build fertilizers, or I can build machine blocks, or industrial credits, or iron fences. So I'm just going to build a couple of machine blocks, and you see you just click on them and you drag it down. Sometimes shift clicks works. It doesn't always work. If it doesn't work, that obviously can be a bit of a pain, but it's not that bad. So we want electronic circuits, 64 of those, and the way you would normally build an electronic circuit is you would need redstone. So let me find some redstone, and then you need copper bars that you can get from mining that copper ore that's over there and then smelting it. So where are we? We want copper bars. I know I passed you a moment ago, I've gone too far. So you can see that the most basic problem that you have with having these mods installed is there are just so many items now. It's much less of a problem when you're trying to play it yourself. There you go, lots of copper ingots. And then I need some wood. Need some wood for this demo. I think I'm going to need 2 trees worth of wood. You get the idea. Imagine I just got 2 trees worth of wood and I got myself a stack of planks. So what you can do now is you go to a crafting table and you need to make the most basic thing, which is in that shape, and it's a tree tap. So with that tree tap, you run to, see how that tree there has a bunch of extra things on top of it? That means it's a rubber tree, and rubber trees have these little notches on them, and when you right click, you saw that thing jump out then? That is sticky resin, and sticky resin gets refined into rubber balls, and wow, you just get so lost in this mod. So you get little pellets of rubber, and on your crafting table again you lay out copper ingots, then you lay out your rubber balls, and you have the most basic kind of copper cable. So then you run your cables, piece of refined iron and 2 ingots, 2 redstone, and that gets you a basic electronic circuit. So you can then, and I think you really need to go to the Industrial Craft wiki, which is an excellent wiki, and I'll put a link to it below, because that teaches you basically all the recipes that you need to know. So what we'll do now is we'll go get ourselves a battery. I know there's a battery here somewhere. Gone too far. Okay, jetpacks. Yeah, you heard right, that was a jetpack. So there's just so much cool stuff in this mod. I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be quicker for me to just craft one. There are so many things that just look similar but not quite right. Okay, this is getting too hard. Where are those ingots? So to make that you use tin ingots and some wire. Hopefully I can at very least find some wire. Nope, no wire. You use wire for lots of things in this mod, so I'm just gonna craft as much as I can of it. Okay, so now you put a piece of wire at the top, 2 pieces of redstone underneath, and then some tin on either side, and you end up with a basic rechargeable battery. So you put one basic rechargeable battery, one machine block that we crafted earlier using 8 pieces of refined iron, and then you use a furnace. Oh, I thought furnaces were here on the first page. So then you use a furnace, and that makes you a generator. And basically the way a generator works is you put coal or any other kind of fuel in it. So generator, you put coal in it, and it makes a lot of noise. Sorry about how loud that is. And basically what it does, you can see that bar there, it's filling up, it's producing lots of energy. So if I had another battery, which I'll make now, you can see that what it allows you to do is it actually allows you to store energy. So all that energy there, you can put the battery in the top, and it basically turns that coal energy into energy in your rechargeable cell, and that can be used for most of the things you make in the mod. But the real genius of this mod is if I throw some cable down, I can now make another machine. Again, all the recipes on the wiki, so I'm just going to spawn the machine in. But the most basic machine, which is one of the first ones that you would make, is this thing here called a macerator. And what it does is you put your piece of ore up the top. So let's say you had one piece of gold ore. When you throw your piece of gold ore into a furnace, you smelt it and you get one piece of gold. So now with my battery, you can throw your battery in the bottom here, and you can see it charges. So you can see that it charges and it starts to slowly work its way through, and eventually it will be finished, and what you'll end up with is 2 pieces of dust. So there we have 2 gold dust. So now what you can then do is build another machine, which is a furnace. So there's a number of different furnaces that you can build. You can build the basic furnace, which is the one that I used to make the generator, which you put coal in. You can build an iron furnace. Now it's more efficient, so instead of getting 8 items per piece of coal, you get 10 items per piece of coal. Or you can build this other one called an electric furnace, and what it does is it actually gives you 12 per piece. So you can again throw that in there, throw your battery in. I thought I'd turn the sound off. For some reason we're still getting really loud sound even when sound's off with that particular thing, so sorry about how loud that is. I'm not sure if there's a way that I can fix that or not. So you basically saw that I got 1 gold ingot out, but I've also got 1 piece of dust left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw that piece of dust in and just move back so you can't really hear it. So you can see that it's almost used up all its internal energy reserve. So with diamond ore, you can't use diamond because obviously diamond's not the right kind of ore. So we'll go macerator, chuck the iron ore in, and you can see it's going to go through its energy as well, that it's eventually going to run out. But obviously you're saying, well, that's a generator, can't that generate power? And the answer to that is yes, it can. So you can take your piece of fuel, and I will show you in a second. If I get a stack of iron and chuck that in there, it will really quickly run out of power, and then it will just pause where it is. And then you come over here, and if I throw 2 more pieces of dust in, it will very quickly stop smelting. So then you come over here and you put coal in, and as your coal burns it supplies energy to both of these. So you might think, well, yeah, that's not that cool. That's, you know, that's the kind of thing that you can do with just about any mod. It's where you combine industrial craft with build craft that I think things really become fantastic. So what I can do now is using pipes. So that is a wooden transport pipe, and basically what a wooden transport pipe does is you have to attach it. It will basically suck it will basically suck whatever it is out of whatever item you put it next to, and it will put it somewhere else. Although I think there's a, I'm not sure if it's a bug, but I think with some of the things, see how the stuff you want's on top and the other thing comes out the side? So what you have to do is you have to make sure that to put something in the top rather than in the bottom, you have to make sure it comes down through the pipe on top of it. So I guess when you look at it like that, it's not really a bug so much as it's probably the way it was designed. Break that block. So what I can do now is put that there, come up one, come across one, and then hopefully, there we go, come down in the top. So now what will happen is as my macerator chews things up, it will come out, come over the top, come down into my electric furnace, and then it will smelt it. And then using another wooden pipe, like that, I can then build a chest, and I can put my nice smelt ingots into this chest. So obviously you can see that the iron's not coming out yet. That's because you need to build engines, and engines allow you to automate lots of different things, and the most basic is the redstone engine, and it's powered by redstone, and the easiest way I found to power that is with a lever. There are other ways of doing it that work, like you can supply redstone current to it, but I found levers work really well, because if we wait a little while you'll see that that starts to change colour. So there's my piece of iron dust coming out. It's going to come up the top. So you can see each time this pumps and hits the end and then goes back, it'll pull out one item. So there comes out another piece of dust. So you can see that's pretty slow. There are other kinds of engines. See if I can find them, which is the steam engine and then the combustion engine. Both of those are both of those are much faster. Sweet, I didn't realise that. You can hover over any item in Not Enough Items, and if you press R, it will tell you how to make it. So to make a solar panel, you need 3 pieces of coal dust, 3 pieces of glass, 2 circuits, and a generator. So you can see now that in here there is lots appearing, but it's not making anything, and that's because the macerator's also stopped because we're out of coal. So throw some coal in, and you can see that it's now smelting. Item gets smelted, redstone engine gets to the end, pulls it out, you end up with an iron ingot in your chest. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause this video for a moment and then come back in a few seconds and just show you how things can get a bit more complicated and a bit different. Back soon. Okay, welcome back. So what I have just created here with 5 solar panels is what they call the most basic solar flower. So I'll just turn creative mode on for a second and knock that away. So basically what I have is one piece of wire in there so that each of them is feeding into this thing at the bottom, which is a battery box. And as you can see there, the sun is actually charging that box up. So I'm going to get some more solar panels. Oh, sorry, creative off. So get some more solar panels, put another one there. So as you can see, it's actually charging up quite fast. Now what's really important is that out that says 32 EU per tick. You'll see the generator doesn't actually say it. So let's just say, oh, I've run out of coal. I don't want to have to supply coal to it. So what you can do now is use your solar panel. And your solar panel will feed power as long as there is sunlight. You can see that the sun is on its way down, and that's not a good thing. So I guess you say, well, if the sun's on its way down, I'm out of coal, how do I keep these fantastic power hungry machines of mine working? And so the answer to that is this thing at the bottom, battery box. So the sun will charge this up all day long, and then when the sun goes down, you can use this to basically connect into your junction, and it will provide power to your machines. So I'll just stop that for a second. So I want to use up all my generator energy first. And once you've used up all your generator energy, you'll see that it just keeps pumping through and it just keeps smelting it, and we're up to 32 ingots there already. So this is a bit of a, I guess you just kind of walk away and forget it thing. So you can see there it's still slowly charging up because they've still got yellow dots saying the sun hasn't set yet, but we are not too far away from the sun setting. And this generator is now empty, and these are draining out their own resources. Oh, there you go, it's now stopped smelting because it's out of power. It's now stopped grinding. Oh, there you go, the sunspot has now disappeared from each of these solar panels, which means no longer producing power. But that doesn't matter, I can now connect this up, and you can see these have now started again. The downside is this is a cable run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now for each 5 blocks that you move, you lose 1 power. So that basically means for every power this uses, it needs to send 2, because it's 10 squares, so you're losing 2. So for every 3 you send, only 1 gets there. Now the way this system works is it has things called voltage packets. Just to make it a bit brighter, back to daytime. You can see very shortly the sun will power up, and this will stop going down. Stop roughly, because I think these things are using a bit more power. Okay, so this is what I was talking about redstone engines. See how those are green now? What actually happens is engines warm up. So that's actually gone green, and you can see it's pumping much faster now than it was previously. And that's made it go green. And then what will happen is it'll eventually go orange, and then it'll go red, and if it goes any further than red, it'll actually explode. And that's bad, because it explodes like a block of TNT. And it's exactly the same for the other kind of engines, the steam engine and the combustion engine, only because they pump much faster to start with, they explode much more quickly if they're not watched carefully. So what you can do to stop that is you turn it off. So you can see it's already cooled down to blue, and then you flick it back on again, and it goes back to normal. So you can see this here. This is the way the system works is this energy, see how it says energy out, 32 EU per tick? That means it sends packets, so like chunks of 32 energy in each pulse. And each pulse goes through, and so this will say I want 1 pulse, so it will send 32 energy to that. And so because it's running 10, it will lose 2 of that energy, so it will get 30 when it gets there. That one will do the same thing, so it will get 30 when it gets there as well. So it's not quite as bad as the whole 1 for 1. But if you had a really long cable run, say I wanted to build a generator in the guild, you can imagine that would be really bad. So what the system lets you do is it lets you use things called transformers, which this one here, and there's this one and there's this one. So what they do is we throw it down, you can see it's got 1 dot on all of these sides and 3 dots on this side. The 3 dot is a high voltage side, so any cable coming out of this is now so any cable coming out of that side is now producing 128 EU packets, so 128 EU per tick. And that's absolutely brilliant, because then when you're travelling along, instead of having to send 4 32 EU packets, each one losing 2, you send 128 EU packet, and it only loses 2, so it ends up much more efficient. And so the next one after that is this one here, which converts medium to high voltage, and then this one here, which converts high to extreme voltage. The downside is that the higher the energy you get, the more expensive your things need to be to actually work. So while technically speaking this will work, you're about to see why it's not going to do anything nice. So if we get a box, let's pick a box, let's say we want to power an electric furnace. We throw the electric furnace here. Now it has a maximum power acceptance of 32 EU per tick. This thing here will be putting out 1024 EU per tick. It's extremely high voltage, and that's bad. Thankfully, these puppies here will only convert from high to low unless you power them with redstone. So that helps, I guess, stop accidents when you first put them down, where you put it down and you go, oh no, I didn't mean to, and then boom, it explodes on you. And you might think explodes is a bit of an exaggeration, but in actual fact it is not even slightly an exaggeration. So I'll throw my switches down, and I'm not even sure if this might actually explode before I even turn it on. No? So there you go. As soon as this thing turned on and started trying to transfer power uphill, the cable just exploded and burnt out. So, ready? Once again. Turn it on, cable burns out. Turn it on, cable burns out. So let's plug it in this way, so we just completely... So you can see that I got knocked back then, and there's a big hole in the ground where my electric furnace was. That's because it tried to send a 128 packet to it. So that obviously what you have to do is you then have to reverse things. So you step things up and then you step things back down. And not only that, you have to use the much more expensive cabling, which is the gold cable, or the high voltage cable, or the glass fiber cables. So each of those things ends up allowing you to send higher and higher powers further distances without, well, I guess without things using too much waste in terms of energy, or without things exploding. So the other thing you can do with this battery box is you can put things in the bottom that can supply energy to the system. So if I put this battery in, you can see how the energy is rapidly going up, but the battery is running out. You can't put fuel in the bottom. That's what your generators are for. So in the event that something goes wrong with your system, you can throw a chunk of coal in, and it will actually, if it's producing enough, that coal will charge the battery box. So just to show you that that is working, I can go and block off most of these solar panels. So you can see now that that solar panel's got no light, so it's not producing any power. So if I... Whoops, sorry, wrong one. So if I knock that cable off and plug it in, you can see that that battery box is now discharging quite quickly. But if I put this back there, you can see that it's now pretty much staying the same, slowly decreasing. But that's because this thing is trying to put out as much energy as it can, but it's losing a lot of energy over this big long run that it has here. So I guess really, oh, there you go, you can see that that's now got orange. So really what I'm showing you there is the basics of how Buildcraft and Industrial Craft work together to let you do things that you would otherwise spend a long time doing in Minecraft. What do I say? So basically, rather than having things take a really long time and having to do them manually, it kind of automates the process. The next thing I can do is I'll just go back to creative mode for a second and get rid of all that wood, so my solar panels start working again. And then that was a stupid idea putting that there, so I'll get rid of that. So what I'm only showing you at the moment is basically the most basic tier of things that you can do. Alligator. Come on. Seriously, I'm trying to make a video. Well, this will give me a chance to show you something that's really cool. That is... okay, that's not going to work. To creative mode. So basically what I've just done there is I have made a mining laser. Unfortunately, the mining laser doesn't have any power in it, so you can't actually use it at the moment. And it runs off 128 per tick. So whereas I could put a battery in the top and charge the battery, if I put the mining laser in, it will never actually charge, because this doesn't produce enough power. It only produces 32. So the way to do that is you would have to step it up. You would have to step it up and get it a little bit higher. But that's not what I wanted to demonstrate. What I wanted to demonstrate is if I just make this chest disappear. I saw a red matter axe, that'll do. Red matter axe. This is one of the cool things you can build with equivalent exchange that is just way more powerful. So where's my pipes? Can run a few pipes. Might have to get rid of that. This is not the way you're supposed to break one of these machines down. In actual fact, I think in the end this might just make it disappear totally. That's okay, I can spawn another one if I have to. Oh, I dropped my mining laser back, which was the thing I had on the top of it. So you might say, well, you know, you could put it in a chest, why would you want to do anything else? And the answer is crafting table. So one of the things that this allows you to build, which is part of Buildcraft, is a thing called an automatic crafting table, which I don't know the recipe for off the top of my head, and rather than look it up, I'm just going to spawn one. But again, it's all on the wiki for Buildcraft this time, because some of this is Buildcraft, some of this is Industrial Craft. Transposers, fillers, item detectors, sorters. There is just so much stuff. I think I'm going to have to maybe pause this video while I work out what it is. Yeah, it's a... Excuse me for a moment, I'll be back in a second. Okay, hello there and welcome back. I just realised I've been building and talking for ages and no one's been hearing me because I haven't been recording the video. But basically what I wanted to show is the cool things you can do by mixing these different mods together. So here we have a macerator that's produced lots of dust, and that dust goes over here to the furnace, which will then smelt it and turn it into iron bars. And so now what I've done is I have produced a thing called an automatic crafting table, which I'm not sure if you saw this bit or not. Oops. But what you do is you make lots of sticks, and then you go to a crafting table. I'm not sure where my crafting table is, so I'll just use a philosopher's stone, and then you lay them out in a sort of T-shaped pattern. T's the wrong word, a cross-shaped pattern, and that makes your wooden gears. And then you put 4 wooden gears down with a crafting table, and you get an automatic crafting table. And the way these work is you lay out whatever recipe you want. So in this case it's 4 iron ingots and a philosopher's stone, and it will produce gold bars. The downside is the way automatic crafting tables work in Buildcraft is for a philosopher's stone to actually work in it, you have to have a chest touching it that has a philosopher's stone in it. That's not that big a deal, because what we can do now is we can turn on, we can turn this on, and what that will do is this will now produce gold bars. Gold bars will get sucked out. Gold bars will come into here. I'm going to need to, just to show this with the full effect, I need more wooden pipes. So 1 more wooden pipe. I'll whack that just there. Use another redstone engine. Got plenty of redstone dust, so hopefully I should be able to just wire that to this. Okay, maybe it won't work like that. I might have to run it directly to it. So there we go, so now that's powered. So you can see my gold bars coming in, and look what it's spitting out. Diamonds. So we're taking iron dust, turning into gold, and we're spitting out diamonds. So you can see now I can walk away and this will do its own thing, and it will go until it runs out of iron dust. And that's where some of the automated machinery comes in. I'm looking for a thing called a quarry, which is part of Buildcraft. There we go, 1 quarry. And basically what a quarry will do is once the quarry is powered, so we'll chuck it on the ground there, it lays out that area, it will automatically mine that area down until it hits bedrock, and anything it gets, it will spit out the top. So steam engine, where'd you just go, Mr. Steam Engine? There we go. So put a steam engine there. Going to need a lever, because even when it's got power, you've still got to tell it that it's turned on. So there we go. So you're now on. Put some coal in. So you can see it's now pumping, and what it will do is it will build some scaffold. And you can see it's starting over there building scaffold. I'm going to pause the video and come back once it's finished. Okay, welcome back. You can see that it's taken quite a while. It's now very dark, but you can see now that this thing here is actually going through, and each block it's stopping over, it's actually digging in. And this, you can see, is, hold on, I'll just go to daytime so you can see it a bit better. It is spitting blocks out the top. So what you would normally do with that is you would then take a piece of pipe, run your blocks, whoops, and let's say you wanted to put them into the top of the macerator, because remember they wanted to go in the top. So you would run a piece of pipe off the top of your macerator. Now the downside is if I put a piece of pipe there, it will connect straight to that, and we don't want it to do that. So the way you get around that is there are a couple of different kinds of pipe you can use, and one of the features of stone versus cobblestone, so that's a cobblestone pipe that I was using. If I build stone pipe now, stone pipe will actually refuse to connect to cobblestone pipe. So that means I can now use this to come over here and to connect to this. But like I said, they refuse to connect, so how do you get around the fact that they refuse to connect and they're just spitting everything out? The way you do that is you use an iron pipe or some intermediate pipe in the middle. So that will now allow things to get through and keep going. Now see how this iron pipe has one little bit at the end there? It's actually bouncing things backwards. That's because iron pipes are kind of like a diode. They're a one-way flow. And there's a thing you can build called a wrench that actually allows you to change the direction that it's flowing in. And it looks as though I'm going to need to do that, because otherwise all my cobble is going to keep sending itself backwards and backing up. So it doesn't look like I can spawn a wrench in, so I'm going to have to make one. And so the way that you do that is you get one wooden gear, and then you make the next level up of gear, which is a cobblestone gear. So you make a cobblestone gear by putting stone around that, and then you put 3 iron ingots in a pattern, and you have your wrench. So I can now right click on this, and now it changes direction. So it's now passing forward. So this is where you get to the downside of this machinery, that as soon as that dirt gets into here, well, it's just going to pour out, because right now it's not iron ore, it's going to bounce out, it's going to just not know what to do. So that's a bit of a downside. And also, if you send something like dirt into a macerator, it can't be ground up into dust. So that's where another pipe that you can get, which is diamond pipe, comes in. What diamond pipe allows you to do is you can say knock this out, put a piece of diamond pipe in. Now see the colours there. What I can say is I only want iron ore to go out the yellow. So if I put iron ore in the yellow, only iron ore will get through. Anything that's not iron ore will just fall out the bottom. Or you can pipe it off in a different direction by adding another piece of pipe on. So say I put it there, so now I can say I want dirt to go black, and dirt will go straight down, and everything else will just pop out. So you could put that into a chest, or you could even use multiple machines and have them all going in different directions, all doing different things. So look at that stack of diamonds just producing themselves. So you come back over here to your quarry, and you can see that it's slowly just eating away at the world with its super fantastic diamond tip there. Now obviously this stuff isn't very easy to produce, so if you play it legitimately, it takes you a long time to get to the point where you can start doing this stuff. But you can see there are some really cool things you can do with this mod, and I have only really just scratched the surface. So I'm thinking of starting up a Let's Play of the Technic Pack, because it looks like it's just going to be lots and lots and lots of fun, and I've been messing around with it a bit on my laptop. So please give me some feedback, let me know if you'd like to see that. So I'm going to call this an end of that mod review. Please know there is still so much stuff I have not covered, but I think that's a good kind of eye-opener to the kind of things that you can do. Although, I've just got to spawn one more item just to show you just how cool this thing can be. That's it just there. It is a nuclear reactor. That's the space for your reactor. And they come with their own challenges of putting uranium ore and keeping it cool so it doesn't overheat and explode. You can make your very own Chernobyl if you want to without too much trouble. So again, this is just a fantastic mod with just so much stuff to do. Thanks very much for watching. Stocky out.